What's going on, Giants fans? Welcome back to Blue and Bold, and week 2 of the Giants regular season comes tomorrow when we face off against the Dallas Cowboys. And I am not excited for this one, but we are desperate for a win, and this is probably the game that's going to determine our season for the rest of the year. And, as we saw in week 1, they they put up a really good fight against the Philadelphia Eagles. So, and that's a team we can never beat. It's just we always get outcoached and outplayed by them, and the game is over mostly by the first quarter or the first half. So yeah, we're gonna see. Obviously, they don't have Micah Parsons anymore, so that helps us a ton. It still might not matter at the end of the day. Let's be honest. But yeah, I have a preview for tomorrow's game, so let's just get right into it. Obviously, starting with the injury reports, we have Wan'Dale Robinson just surprisingly show up on the injury report with an ankle injury. I believe that ankle came on during one of the first kickoff returns that he had. First of all, I don't even know why he's on kickoff returns. It's just obviously during training camp we cut Amir Smith-Marset and we try to put him on the practice squad. We don't even elevate him, and we signed Xavier Gipson to fill in that role. I don't know why we're not giving Amir Smith-Marset the attention that he deserves, but it is what it is. I'm not the GM of this team. Obviously, if I was the GM of this team, you probably would have won 3 Super Bowls by now in the last 5 years. But next up, we have Andrew Thomas. Obviously, with his foot injury, he's going to be doubtful for this game. Doubt he plays, which is why he is labeled as doubtful. But I do expect him to play in week 4. Probably not week 3, but week 4 is what would be my timeline for him. Demetrius Flanagan-Fowles is going to be out with a calf injury. Obviously, we already know what happened to Micah McFadden. So we're losing another linebacker depth, and we have weak linebacker depth beyond that. And it just, Darius Muasau looks to fill in that role, so we'll see if he plays good, with a full workload, because, he came in, I believe, late in the first quarter. It just came up out of nowhere for him, so hopefully he has enough time to prepare. And, we'll see how he plays. Hopefully, he is a 7th-round pick, so I don't expect much from him, but we'll see. Raheem Nunez-Roches, the defensive tackle, is doubtful with a foot injury. Obviously, we already know our run defense is absolutely atrocious, with or without Raheem Nunez-Roches, and obviously we have Dexter Lawrence there, but he cannot do everything by himself. So that is going to be a glaring hole. Obviously, let's see if Darius Alexander isn't a healthy scratch for week 2. I don't think he will be. I think this is where he comes in to play his first game. But we will see. Obviously, we have Roy Robertson-Harris. He will look to fill that role probably. It's probably a battle between both of them. It was a battle for them in the preseason, so we'll see what the staff thinks. I believe that Darius Alexander should get a shot. He was a 3rd-round pick, but we'll see. The only player on the injury report for the Cowboys is Deron Bland. He is out with a foot injury, which is huge news for us because obviously they're gonna have Trayvon Diggs on Malik Neighbors. That's gonna be fun to watch. I can't wait to watch them two battle it out. And Deron Bland, they need someone to guard Darius Slay. Deron Bland would have been that guy, but he is not going to be playing for today. Obviously, hope for him a speedy recovery. I want to verse the Cowboys when they're at their best. But sadly, Deron Bland will not play this game. He'll probably be out for multiple weeks because I think he was spotted in a a walking boot. Yeah, he was spotted in a walking boot earlier this week. So just hope for a speedy recovery for him. A couple of Giants got elevated from the practice squad earlier this week. Linebacker Suez Bozeman, don't know who that is. He's probably an Amazon driver that got picked up last week. And then defensive lineman Elijah Garcia, he put up a decent performance in the preseason. So that basically tells me they're looking to fill. If Darius Muasau cannot cut it during that game, I believe they will put Suez Bozeman in there. Because to fill in that role for Mike McFadden. And defensive lineman Elijah Garcia, it's pretty obvious they're going to need help in the running game, probably to help with rotations with Darius Alexander and Roy Robertson-Harris. So that is at least they're aware of how bad our team is in those areas. Some keys to the game. Obviously, this is not a hard one to figure out. Contain CeeDee Lamb and George Pickens. That's going to be a tough task It's going to be a tough one because Paulson Adebo, obviously, he played decently against Terry McLaurin, even though he did have one play where he got absolutely cooked and Jaden Daniels overthrew him by maybe 10 yards. But I believe Paulson Adebo can hold his own. It's not like he's going to verse Adoree Jackson where he just looked absolutely pitiful every time he takes the field. So I believe CeeDee Lamb's going to get his yards regardless. He'll probably get a 100-yard game anyway. But it's not going to look as bad when you have Paulson Adebo in there, who is a decent player for this team. And obviously, George Pickens, we're going to see they're going to be battling out between Cordell Flott and Deontay Banks. They're going to be switching. Obviously, we know Deontay Banks is coming in on third downs. So we will see how that is. They're probably going to get 100 yards each, knowing us. But obviously, you want Tyler Newman and Javon Holland helping out. Maybe they can shadow them both. Who knows? Obviously, last week the run game wasn't really all that well. I believe Chandler Tracy had maybe 12 carries for 30 yards, something like that, almost less than 4 yards a carry. So it's important to get the run game going and early. I believe in running the ball to set up the pass. Obviously, they're going to be looking for the Russ Moon Bowl. They're going to be looking for deep passes all over the field, which we did not even try to do last week. But yeah, we will see. Take advantage of Kyrie Elam with Deron Bland out with that foot injury. Kyrie Elam will step in as that CB2 spot. And obviously that's an advantage you have to have. He was a first round pick by the Buffalo Bills a few years back. He got cut by them. It just didn't work out. And then Cowboys ended up trading for him for a really low pick. I believe it was a seventh round pick or something like that. But yeah, that's a player you have to take advantage of. And he was cut from the Bills for a reason, because obviously they believed that he wasn't a good corner. Cowboys picked him up. They wanted to see what type of upside they bring out of him. But Darius Slayton has to take advantage of that, because Darius Slayton is one of the most decent. He's probably he's probably a mid-level wide receiver too at this point in his career. And Kyrie Elam, he's basically a bust from the Buffalo Bills. So I believe the Darius Slayton will have the advantage over Kyrie Elam. But obviously, maybe Kyrie Elam turns into Darrelle Revis when he versus him. We'll see. And obviously, this is probably the most obvious one here. We have to get to Dak Prescott. Obviously, he's one of the best quarterbacks when under pressure. I believe he has an above 90 PFF grade. When under pressure, I don't know, this guy's a monster when he just loves to get blitzed. He loves being under pressure. But our defensive line is too good for us not to get to him. If that makes sense. It's I expect a few sacks from Brian Burns here, maybe a sack from Abdul Carter there. Dexy, I know he'll show up on the scoreboard sooner or later. But obviously, it's got to be Kayvon, Abdul Carter, Brian Burns, Dexter Lawrence. I don't care who it is. Find a way to get to him with a good offensive line that they have. But, they're going to have to put a tight end somewhere to chip someone, So, hopefully, all these keys to the game could help us beat the Dallas Cowboys. But the biggest question of them all is, will Jackson Dart come in during the second half if the first half offense with Russell Wilson fails to produce points? This is a question that a lot of Giants fans are speculating. I believe reports came out from Adam Schefter that the Cowboys were preparing for Jackson Dart to come in the game. They looked some film on him during the preseason, and I believe the Washington Commanders did the same thing as well. So they're expecting him to show up soon. Probably not this game, but NFL teams are expecting Jackson Dart to play soon, and it's going to be very soon. I believe he's going to come in by week 4 when Andrew Thomas comes in. I believe that's what should happen if Russell Wilson fails to get this offense going. And obviously, my prediction for this game, I believe we're only going to score maybe one touchdown and a field goal. I believe Cowboys are a high-powered offense, with CeeDee Lamb, George Pickens, and Javonte Williams had 2 TDs earlier, and Dak Prescott being the QB that he is. I believe they score 28-10. We lose by 18 points, and it's not going to be fun. But yeah, obviously, any given Sunday, maybe we could win. Maybe we could save our season to go into 1-1, and they fall to 0-2. That would be we'll be singing hallelujah for all Giants fans. But yeah, if you guys like this video, make sure you guys like, comment, subscribe. It will all be really appreciated, and hopefully we don't go 0-2 tomorrow. Let's hope for that 1-1. Let's go Big Blue.